Welcome back to Stu's Structures. I am Mark Stewart, and we're here to continue our build on Sparky's home with this video 4 in the series, so stay tuned. So welcome back. With this house build, we've still got a long ways to go. I'm starting to get all the walls together. There's some angled roof walls and stuff that I need to work on in the back finished walls. So I can put this all together and start working on roofs. So I'm just going to jump into this and get into this and see what we can get accomplished. I still have a lot going on in my private life this week, as well as a trip to Virginia this week. So I'm not sure how much I'm going to get accomplished in this week either. This is going a little slower than I would have liked it to, but I'm getting something out there every week, and I hope you're enjoying that. So just sit back and let's jump into this week's video. Now this is how we kind of left things in the last week, and we're going to continue on around and start connecting walls the rest of the way around the building. Now I did come back and finish putting all the glazing in the windows on this back wall, and this makes the screen stand out a little more in this as well. So I went ahead and attached that to the corner, and then added some square stock in behind it as well to beef up the corner a little bit. Now the next wall around the corner I had previously made in the last show, but I didn't have the glazing in the windows on it either, so I went ahead and continued and put the windows in that, and then attached it to this back corner. Now we almost have that whole wall or part of the building done on that end of the building. Now I'm going to backtrack a little bit here. I had these garage doors made in the first episode of the wood cutting for this, and this one I had attached to the other part of the building, but since I've got this end wall made, I'm going to go ahead and just make kind of a sub-assembly to attach to the end of the building. So, I will go ahead and attach this garage door to the end wall and put some square stock in the corner of that to beef up that corner as well. Now, the other wall that I've got to come up with is this wall between the two garages. The one garage sets back from the other wall, and there's this, area between the two roof lines. And the back roof line, you can't tell much from the pictures, but it doesn't have the same pitch as the rest of these roofs do, because it comes back here and meets the second story wall on where these two windows are on the second story here. So there's a lesser degree of pitch on the back of that roof. So this took a little bit of figuring out, but I came up with these two pieces and went ahead and cut them, and I think this is going to work. And I came back and put that end wall on there and scribed the lines where the roof lines from this end will meet up to that wall. And then, went ahead and put some square stock on behind it to just stiffen up the wall and connect the two panels together as well. And then, now I just need to start working with this. There's a few things I need to do to this panel to make it work right. So, the first thing I'm going to do is just come back and put gray paint on everything that's going to be exposed. The rest of this down here that's not painted will be inside the building, so it won't matter. And where the roof line is, I need to attach some square stock to the board, and I need these battens removed. So I use this chisel bit and just remove those battens from that area so I can glue this square stock down to the roof line of where that building is going to meet up. Now where these buildings meet in the back, we're going to continue on with this back wall. And, it's a two-story wall that has this little one-story building attached to the in the corner here. But there's two windows in this wall. There's a door which you can barely see on the first floor down at the bottom, and a window at the far end of that wall. And the garage, the door steps up into the garage. There's actually a step up in that. So I measured the height of all of the roof lines and came up with the heights on this, and the width matches the same width as that whole expanse on the front. So from there, I just cut these boards and then laid out where those windows will go in those boards. Now I do have a 4-panel door. I'm not sure what kind of door is in that, but there was a 4-panel door on the front. This might have been more of just a standard door, I don't know. But I'm going to use one of these 4-panel doors, and I go ahead and cut all the openings for everything that's going to be in this wall. Go ahead and add some 4x4 stock to the back of this. Now I did remove this 1-story building and make it a separate piece later on, but in this I'm just continuing on. I go ahead and put the gray paint on this and then just start framing in the windows like I do all the other windows. You know, the whole outside of this, the top and bottom, then the 2 sides to all the windows, and then I come back and put the center frame in where there's a 1 pane window in those 2 windows. So I add that center post in, and then with that small 20 by 30 stock again, I just frame out the inside of the windows so I can add window panes inside the windows. Now the door, this Tichy door, you know, this is the way it came off the sprues, but I need to trim back the exposure to the outside in the frame itself, so this will set back into the wood. So I cut that off before I measured the wood and laid it on there to mark the wood. Then I went out and put white paint on the door, and now we have a door ready to go into that opening. So I could just come back and glue that into that. Now this probably would have had a concrete stoop underneath of it where it steps up into the garage. So what I'm going to do is just come back and add some square stock underneath of that I'll paint like concrete, put the glass in the windows, and like I said, I had removed that 1-story building off the end of that. And then I come back and just add that onto that back part of the pre-existing building that we've already put together. Put some square stock in the back corner of it to support it, to make it a little stronger. And now we're going to work with this 1-story small shed that goes between the 2 different 2-story walls. So, you know, I know how many wooden panels there are in this, so I cut these to the height and width that I need these. That just comes up underneath those 2nd-story windows for the height in the back, and mark and lay out where the windows go, and then go ahead and cut those out. And you know, once this is done, I want these outside corners to match up good, so I come back and go ahead and cut the outside edges of these to a 45-degree where they'll meet, so that there's, you know, no really seam in the corner that shows very well. And then, you know, that's all the basic wood done, so I just come back and add some paint to this. You know, and even these small panels want to curl a little bit, so I'm adding some 4x4 stock to the back just to, you know, keep the wood from curling. And I just frame these windows in both these panels in the same as I have all the other windows in the building. You know, I use the wide stock next to the wood and the 2x20 frame, and come back and put glazing in both of those. And you know, I have 2 small walls to put together for, you know, that 1-story shed. Now there is some glue showing here and there. I'm going to have to come back with some dull coat or something and just add it in areas. But then I go ahead and glue those 2 panels together, and we have our 1-story shed building to add into the back side of that corner. And I'm going to go ahead and add this onto that corner, because just adding this in there really strengthens the whole corner of the building at this point, and it just makes it easier to handle and less likely to break once I add this on there. Now the next thing I'm going to do is this other end wall that I had previously made. I'm going to go ahead and attach it so that the front wall and back walls are connected to give them some strength. And I'm going to add the 4x4 square stock into the corners like I do all my corners, just to make them a little stronger so that they don't break off easy. Now this other 1-story wall that we took off that rear 2nd-story building and separated, I go ahead and, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and add it on to this substructure that we had started for that very end garage stall. And then I put some square stock in the corner of it as well to beef it up. And now we've got the last assembly ready to attach to the rest of the building. And so then I just go ahead and glue that into place and put some weights against it and let it set up for a few hours. And that's basically the whole structure together at this point. I mean, we have a lot of small stuff to add to this, but basically that gives you the good feel of the overall house at this point in time. So, there's a few little odd things that bug me, but I'm happy with it. So there you have video 4 in Sparky's house build. The walls are coming along really good. There's a couple of things that just, don't quite look right to me. And, that little back one-story building that I added onto the back between those two different two-story buildings in the corner there. I use these old lead weights for holding things down and then the angles and everything, and I let that glue dry up overnight on that, and coming back in the morning and even in the picture I see it when in the video here, but it kind of moved at a slight angle in there, so I'm going to have to look at maybe addressing that. The front walls where the main door and the garages are, I wish I'd have made them maybe a foot taller. They scale right when I look at them, but they just, don't look right in perspective of the house right now. Maybe that'll change as I start putting roofs on. That's going to tie it all together and make it less noticeable. And some of the windows, I oversized them just a little bit. I think the wall dimensions were pretty correct on this, because as I came together adding the last walls in the back, everything is pretty square. There's a couple that are slightly out, but not exaggerated. So I'm okay with that, but to make the windows look right in the size of the walls, I really had to make some of them a little large. And when you stand back and look at individual walls, they look okay, and even the house altogether looks okay, but the two doors, the one in the front and the one in the back, just do look a little small compared to the windows. Once the roofs are on, that's not even going to be noticeable, so I think it's okay. But in any case, that we're where we are at this point at the end of this video. So next week we're going to start putting on roofs, getting the suspension system in there, which will make the building a lot more solid and more easily to handle. I'm going to do a couple of view blocks in there because there's a lot of windows in a couple parts of the house, and I don't like being able to look through a structure window to window from wall to opposite wall without there being interiors and lit and everything. So I'm just going to add some view blocks to some of it. So come back and join me again next week. Like and share this video with other people out there in the hobby. It does help my analytics and gets me out there a little bit better, and I do appreciate it. And I appreciate you coming back and sharing this time with me. I hope you're learning something. I hope you're just, if nothing else, just wanting to jump out there and grab some materials and scratch build something for your model layout. And that's what it's all about, and that's why I'm sharing this information, is just to show people that, anybody can do this. I'm not that gifted at any of this. It's not that hard. I've been doing this for a while. My skills obviously still need some honing. I'm not bad at a lot of what I do, and some things I look at it and I have to laugh. But it's all a learning process, and you're never going to learn if you don't just grab some materials and start scratch building something. Start with something easy and something to add to your model railroad that nobody else will have. It's just not available out there in kit form, and something to be proud of. In any case, enjoy the hobby, happy model railroading, and we'll see you again next week.